Hi, I'm Meredith Taylor.
I'm Maddie McDonald.
I'm Anna Borden.
I'm Autumn Ford.
And I'm Mary Elizabeth Burns.
And this is our curriculum audit project. And our research question is, how is the humanistic curriculum currently being used in early childhood classrooms? And what are the effects of this approach on student achievement?
So the purpose of this curriculum audit is to assess how aspects of the humanistic curriculum are currently being used in the early childhood classrooms and to determine whether these practices have an effect on student achievement. Our focus for this curriculum audit is to gauge whether humanistic practices are evident in the average classroom and to provide recommendations for teachers who wish to incorporate these practices into their current curriculum. The humanistic curriculum is beneficial to students as it takes student interests and motivations into consideration. Additionally, the humanistic curriculum allows students to choose their own path for learning and make decisions as to which topic they would like to learn about next.
So a little bit of background information on why we chose this topic. We are all early childhood educators, and we're always looking for a way to expand our curriculum and find new ways to expand those student achievement levels. And after working through these modules, we all collectively agreed that humanistic curriculum is the one that has the most direct and tangible impact on the students, and how it's led us to search for evidence of these practices in our own classrooms. And the humanistic curriculum attends to not only the students' feelings, but their personal interests, and this supports the students' learning and engagement, as well as creates a passion from the students on what they're learning about. So this curriculum audit research question is important in a larger context because the humanistic curriculum looks different in every single classroom, and it affects each classroom individually, which we learned after auditing our own classrooms. So one aspect of the humanistic curriculum is social emotional skills, and these are essential for students to master at such an early age so they can learn how to navigate through life and the stress and challenges that they're going to face through the real world and not just the classroom. And these skills need to be explicitly taught nowadays more than ever because of the COVID-19 pandemic and how these students are lacking those social emotional needs because they were at home and sheltered for such a long time. So one way the teachers can incorporate SEL in their classroom is by enacting these different aspects of the humanistic curriculum.
The two articles I researched were Inclusive Education Curriculum Management with Modification Humanistic Design and The New Normal in Education. So Fitri said in his qualitative research study that humanistic theory has ties to John Dewey's concept of personalized education, and that learning is characterized by changes in knowledge, attitudes, and/or student behavior. A profound quote that was in this article is that the purpose of learning is to humanize human beings. And I think that's just a really good general definition of what the humanistic curriculum is. Some ways to incorporate humanistic curriculum, according to Fitri, is exploration, puzzles, spontaneity, and student choice. And these components kind of remind me of the book Kindergarten, A Teacher, Her Students, and a Year of Learning by Julie Diamond, because this author details in this book the way that she decides what her class will learn next based off of their questions and curiosity in the previous unit. So she really doesn't plan up until the moment that she's ready to teach something, which I just think is very interesting. The article by Pakekam is a research article that discusses the personal and social effects of the COVID-19 pandemic and how a humanistic perspective can promote respect for diversity and rejection of all forms of hegemony, stereotypes, and biases. Humanistic curriculum is necessary to prevent the devaluing of diversity and human creativity in the education system, which is where it gets its name. And it outlines that it's especially important in the aftermath of COVID because students have not yet had the opportunity to develop their social emotional skills. And that makes it hard to achieve academic success if you don't have that solid foundation of your social emotional needs.
The two articles that I found for my literature review are The Application of Humanism, Teaching Theory, and Humanistic Approach to Education, and The Promises and Challenges of Implementing Humanistic Pedagogy in the Curriculum. So my first article, which was written by Javadi and Tahamsby in 2020, was a peer-reviewed journal that was based around a study that used the humanistic approach in the classroom, specifically with English language learners. And the language teachers personalize their learning materials to make them better teaching resources and also individualize them for a particular group of learners. The humanistic learning materials that were included activities that are associated with learners' lives and experiences, and they attempt to engage the learners effectively by relating to students' real-world experiences. And the application of the humanistic theory in education can be through improving course texts or the classroom library in order to support the students in more communicative goals and collaborative learning environments. From my second article, Lau, in 2009, this consisted of 2 case studies that were conducted through the peer review journal, and they studied teachers managing the challenges of a student-centered humanistic curriculum of learning. The teacher in this curriculum is referred to as a facilitator and is important in initiating the class and helping it get started, but this leadership role should decline as the class progresses, allowing the students to lead themselves and use the teacher as a resource person. The study explored the implicit tensions pertaining to the philosophical roots of the humanistic pedagogy, and the study mentioned that the classrooms that were utilizing this humanistic classroom or humanistic-based approaches in their classrooms were fully supported by the school's administration, and the administration for these classrooms adopted a flexible curriculum in order to implement these approaches.
The first article I chose was Humanism, the Hidden Curriculum in Educational Reform, a Scoping Review and Thematic Analysis in Academic Medicine. So this is the second article reviewed from 2015, and this is where medical students were being trained on different type of curricular methods, and it showed that using the humanistic curriculum and actually focusing on student social and emotional health rather than just the students as numbers created a much more professionalism and a community within the students. And I really thought this related to breaking it down into elementary students, as a lot of the time when we're looking at data, students are just looked at as numbers and they're not really focused on their social and emotional needs. The second article I chose was Human Integration of a Character-Based Curriculum and Humanistic Values as a Basic Innovation of Human Rights Friendly School. This is the top article from 2018. And this peer review article discussed how the humanistic approach is being used in a human rights friendly school and how the benefits are working towards building a school community. So not only the kids are working together, but the families and the parents and the educators and all the admin. And one quote that stuck with me from this article was, "From the way the decisions are made in schools to the way people treat each other to the curriculum and their extracurricular activities on offer, right down to the very surroundings in which students are taught. The school becomes an exemplary model for human rights and education." So it really just shows that using the humanistic approach in this school is just creating better environments for the students and the kids and the teachers who are working together. So it's using innovative teaching styles and democratic systems of having the students be in control and just responsible citizenship for having the students owning up for their learning, and really showed how the humanistic curriculum is great to implement with young children.
Okay, so I did 2 articles. The first article was The Humanistic Approach in Children in Education, and it takes a deep look into the humane perspective of teaching. The first article is a peer-reviewed article, and it discusses the humanistic theory or approach that is very crucial in teaching children. The article focuses on the humanistic theory that sees human connection is a vital matter to young learners. It makes them self-actualize in their learning process. The article also builds an emotional relationship between teachers and student-centered teaching. In conclusion, whatever method adopted by the teacher to suit the needs of children, a teacher with a humanistic approach will make them learn to remember, to understand, to think, and to learn. The second article discusses also how the humanistic theory or approach is very crucial in teaching children. It had 2 main ideas. The first main idea is that the humanistic approach develops an awareness in young children of themselves and others through activities that are selected, adapted, and are applied by the researcher. The second main idea is that the humanistic approach also develops an awareness in young children of other cultures and ethnic groups. And in so, this creates interest, understanding, and a comfortable feeling about them.
Okay, so my first article about humanistic curriculum was written by Nath et al. In 2017. The main points I discovered were humanistic curriculum allows students to self-actualize their learning process by providing a humane environment in the classroom. Teachers utilizing humanistic curriculum develop student self-esteem, helping them to feel confident in setting and achieving goals. Implementing child-centered learning allows for students to take responsibility for their learning. Results of the implementing the humanistic curriculum approach includes the restoration of ethical and moral values, morale, and tolerance among students. This will help us imparting education in a better way, and at the same time will enable us to deal with other social issues such as inequality, access to quality education, etc. The purpose of humanistic education is to provide a foundation for personal growth and development so that learning will continue throughout life in a self-directed manner. Humanistic curriculum, the second article was by Sharp, 2012. And the main points were that humanistic curriculum focuses on educating the whole person, considering students' personal interests, enthusiasm, and goals in order to allow them to reach their full potential. A quote for this article is, the primary goal of humanistic education is human well-being, including the primacy of human values, the development of human potential, the acknowledgement of human dignity. The teacher acts as a facilitator and a coach in humanistic curriculum, creating a collaborative learning environment that stimulates active learning. The humanistic approach creates a democratic environment among the classroom, promoting collaboration among the teacher and students in decision-making processes. And then another quote from this article is that a basic premise is that children learn prejudice, hatred, and intolerance from adult authority. Without the restrictions of authority, they will grow naturally as caring, loving individuals.
So I teach at a school in Frisco, Texas, and I teach kindergarten in a school that is primarily Asian, specifically Indian. And my class size is 22 students, 10 boys, 12 girls. And my school is a learning community style with kindergarten and first grade in one learning pod or community. The data I collected regarding humanistic curriculum was primarily anecdotal in the form of observations regarding student engagement levels, content recall, etc. The evidence I found was mainly related to behavior and relationship-centered learning, such as morning greetings poster, which can be seen over here to the right, a calm down cubby, daily affirmations that are set in our morning circle, and then a treatment agreement that's seen up in the right-hand corner. And this treatment agreement really is like the foundation of my classroom learning, because it's something we did in the very first week of school and then again in January after winter break. And what you can see in this picture is my students collaborating to come up with ways to treat each other, to treat me, their teacher, for me to treat them, and then ways that they can treat guests who come into our classroom. And it really just sets the stage for a safe and collaborative environment and a positive environment. And I think that's crucial in order to see academic success.
My audit took place in a kindergarten classroom in a school in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. The school demographics, the school is mostly African-American with some white, Asian, biracial, and American Indian students as well. The typical class size is 17 students. Mine has 9 girls and 8 boys. And the school is a STEM creative learning focused school and utilizes team planning and collaboration for lessons. The data I collected was primarily anecdotal through the form of observational notes during the classroom instruction, and a bunch of humanistic curriculum evidence that I found in my classroom was the calm down corner / book nook is what you can see in this picture here. This is a place where students can go whenever they're feeling overwhelmed or having a bunch of emotions. They can go read a book, sit on the stools, calm down for a bit before returning back to the lesson. Collaboration is highly promoted in the classroom. Students are always working together, and this allows students to build their social skills. ELA and math both take place in centers, which is student-directed learning. The students get to choose their centers, choose where they go next. The teacher also has an affirmation station in her classroom, which is a mirror that has a bunch of positive statements for students to look at and remind themselves of their self-esteem. And the school also takes place in plenty of creative learning opportunities for students. Right now, my students are working on gardening because that is something that they all had an interest in. And so that is something that they're doing during their science lessons. And it just shows that the students are really at the center of their learning and choosing the topics that they want to learn about.
So I am a kindergarten teacher in Nashville, Tennessee, and my demographic is pretty split between white and African American students with some Hispanic, 2 or more races, and some Asian or Pacific Islander. The average class size is around 20. I have 9 boys and 11 girls in my classroom, and the school utilizes team planning and collaboration. We're really focusing on creativity in the classroom. So my data collected for my audit was definitely used with anecdotal style from observations and just notes taken during the lesson and during instruction. So evidence of the humanistic curriculum in my classroom, we have our calm down corner, which is seen to the picture to the right. So this is a place where the students know that they don't even need to ask me if they're having a tough time or they are feeling big emotions. They can go to the calm down corner, take a beat, and come back when they know that they're ready. And it just lets the students know that their feelings are valid, and when they want to express them, they can without disrupting the rest of the class. Our students also have free choice. So anytime that we have centers or students know when they are done with their activities, they can choose between computers, calm down corner, or any of the centers that we have available during the instruction. And they know that they can work on this until the activity is done with, so that they're quietly working while their students are working or finish the activity. We have a lot of turn-in talks during our lessons where the students are not just listening to me and talking to me, but they're working with a partner next to them and bouncing off ideas and having conversations with each other, which really puts the students in control of their learning and for focusing on working with other students. We have table leaders and students who are in charge. So each week we have a different table leader, and this really just puts the students in control of when they're getting their activities and kind of placing them in charge of their table for the time. And it really helps them feel like they're in charge of something in the classroom or in control. We also have an affirmation station where the students come in every morning and they read an affirmation where they can say, I'm smart, I am beautiful, and it kind of sets the tone for the morning. And during our morning meetings, we talk about how we're feeling, how we can either change those feelings, we share something exciting that happened, and we talk about our goals for the day. And this just really puts the students in control of what they want to do with the learning in the classroom and how they're going to take over what we need to do for that day.
Okay, I'm a kindergarten teacher in Fairhope, Alabama, and for the school demographics, it's a really rural school. There are 78.4% white students, so that is mainly the majority of the students, and the rest make up 9.9, which is Hispanic, 2.9 African American, 0.7 Asian, and 0.3 Pacific Islander. My class size is around 17 students. I have 9 girls and 8 boys. My school is currently ranked 108 out of 687 Alabama public elementary schools. And we are now a STEAM certified school, so we do a lot of STEAM activities within our classroom instruction. The data collected was also in the form of observations during my classroom instruction. My evidence of having the humanistic approach is students also have free choice and control over the activities. They can choose what they want to do in centers. The curriculum focuses on what children are concerned about. It also focuses on life skills, thinking skills that are also combined with social skills like sharing and communicating. We also have a Leader in Me curriculum. So it talks about how important our character is in and outside of the classroom. I like for my students to lead the conversation, and I just like to be a facilitator. We also talk about our feelings and our expressing ourselves in our morning meetings. And we also have discovery education where they get to discover different things and ask questions.
Okay, so I am placed in a second grade classroom in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. In my placement classroom, the school demographics for the school is 43% African American, 32% Hispanic, 23% white, and 2% Asian. And in my placement classroom, the size is 19 students, which is made up of 11 boys and 8 girls. The school utilizes flexible seating and team planning collaboration with grade level instructors. And then for my curriculum audit, the data was contained through anecdotal records that I created through observation of the classroom and the students and the teacher. Evidence of humanistic curriculum in my placement classroom. I observed encouragement and support from the teacher. So the teacher would say things to students such as, "You're capable of doing this. I believe in you," just giving them confidence and motivation to engage in their learning. And also she would offer support when they weren't able to do things and scaffolding as well. And then I also observed mutual respect among teachers, the teacher and the students. Um, Also flexible seating and collaboration was observed in my classroom. For collaboration, I observed my mentor teacher collaborating with other grade level instructors just to come up with instruction. And then as well as I observed student and teacher collaboration, such as they co-created rules together for the classroom. And then I also observed morning meetings and daily affirmations. And this is when the mentor teacher was a facilitator and went around to each student, having them say something positive about themselves. And if they weren't able to think of something, the teacher would say something positive for them. And then as well as I also observed student-centered activities and projects in my placement classroom.
So for our recommendations, the biggest recommendation that you can take away from this entire presentation is if you want to implement the humanistic approach in your classroom, you don't have to change your entire curriculum. These approaches can be, you can put one approach or you can put some approaches, but you don't have to change the entire curriculum. So these are all some tips on ways that we all found through our classroom audits on how you can implement humanistic based approaches in your classroom. So you can focus on social emotional learning skills, allow students to be the center of their own learning through centers, free choice, having student leaders in the classroom, discussing emotions and feelings through morning meeting discussions, positive affirmations, also building a really strong classroom community, which includes the teacher-student relationships and the student-student relationships. Allowing for collaboration in your classroom, allowing students to work with each other and choosing their own path for learning. And lastly, just focusing on self-esteem, goals, and full autonomy in your classroom.
Overall, the humanistic curriculum is just a way to attend to students' unique interests and abilities. And implementing this curriculum is important because it builds a strong foundation for further academic success. Without social emotional learning and hearing from students, you're not going to have an engaged classroom who is ready to learn about complex topics. Thank you for listening.